Hello and welcome everybody to today's webinar, Two Truths and a Lie, Parts e-commerce edition. We are so excited to have you join us. And before we get started, I do want to cover a few quick housekeeping items. Today's webinar will last approximately 45 minutes with 30 minutes of presentation and 15 minutes of Q&A. And with that, I'd love to introduce our speakers today. Mike is our VP of Marketing. He will be one of our expert panelists. Mauro is also an expert panelist and is an AE here at Revolution Parts. And I am Mel. I'm our MC for today and also our product and customer marketing manager. With that, we'll roll right into the agenda. So just a quick sneak peek of what we will cover today. First, we will play our game of Two Truths and a Lie. Second, we will do a quick recap of all the ooey gooey wonderful things we teach you today. Third, we'll host the live Q&A, and then finally, we'll close it out with a raffle. And before we get started, I do want to capture a little bit of information on our audience just so we can tailor today's presentation. So you should see a poll on your screen now. And the question just is, do you currently sell parts online? There's two options for yes, whether you use Revolution Parts or another e-commerce solution. And then there are three options for no, if you are interested in selling within the next 1 to 3 months, 6 to 12 months, or if you're just not interested in online sales at this time. Alrighty, and it looks like we have a pretty good mix of current customers. Welcome, we're happy to have you here, and future customers. So I'll go ahead and close that poll. And now we will get started with our game here. And let's see if you can spot the lie. So I've launched the poll on your screen, and your options are: a designated parts web store is separate from your dealership website. There are numerous e-commerce selling channels, or selling parts on your dealership website is the same as selling on a web store. Which of those do you think is the lie? Alrighty, and we've got a pretty good mix of responses coming in so far. Quite a few are thinking the first choice is the lie, and quite a few are thinking the third choice is the lie. And we'll give just a couple more seconds for our audience to guess. Alrighty, and I'm going to close out that poll. And our lie was selling parts on your dealership website is the same as selling on a web store. And Mike, can you tell us a little bit about that lie?
I sure can, Mel. So yes, selling parts on your dealership website is not the same as selling on a web store. So I think we need to just define what those two things are for our audience. So the dealership website is the site that your local customers are used to going to and finding information about cars you may be selling, services you offer, or finding that typically dreaded parts form, as we like to call it here at Revolution Parts, where people can submit their information and the data will go somewhere, and maybe someone someday will call them back. So that's the dealership website. The second piece is a web store. So typically when people sell parts online, they actually stand up a separate website that's dedicated to selling parts online. So it's a full e-commerce solution where people can go, find parts, look at images, read description, check for fitment, and then actually buy those parts. So when you're selling parts online, you typically are selling on a parts web store that is separate from your dealership website. That's not to say you can't sell parts on your dealership website. Many e-commerce companies, us included, offer what's called a website plugin, where you can actually put like a mini web store basically onto your dealership parts site page that allows customers to find parts on your dealership website. Typically, when customers do that, they'll put the pricing on the dealership website plugin at a price point that's higher than that of their parts website.
Alrighty, thank you so much for going over lie numero uno, Mike. And now we will roll over into round 2. So for those of you attending today live, you will see a poll on your screen now. And the options are selling online is a race to the bottom, you can profit from shipping, or parts e-commerce is a game of volume. Which of those do you think is the lie? Ooh, our audience was quick to answer this one. Again, it looks like we've got a pretty good mix between choice number 1 and 3. We've got about 14% of attendees think the lie is you can profit from shipping. We'll give everybody just a couple more seconds. Alrighty, I'm going to close the poll. And our lie for round 2, selling online is a race to the bottom. And why is that, Mauro?
Yeah, so that's a common misconception. We found that it actually pays off to sell parts online in higher volumes at lower prices. So, MSRP doesn't always take your dealership's unique needs or costs into account. And the more parts you sell across online selling channels, the better your chances are of turning a profit. So if you see here on the table, if you price a part at $750 and sell 4, your gross profit is now at 10. So if you sell the same part at $10, but only sell 1, your gross profit will be at 5. So yeah, you made more off that one part, but at the end of the day, you only made $5. So with competitive pricing, you're able to sell enough parts to double your profits.
Alrighty, and without further ado, we will roll into our 3rd round of Find the Lie. And our options for round 3, parts e-commerce scales with your business. Parts e-commerce is good for dealerships large and small, or you need at least 5 employees to run a successful online parts business. So go ahead and vote on which of these you think is the lie. All right, we've got a pretty even split again. Oh, the numbers keep updating. We will give about 5 more seconds to answer this poll, and then we will do our reveal. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and close the poll, and it looks like our answer is the lie. You need at least 5 employees to run an online parts business. And why is that our lie, Mike?
This is my favorite question. So you don't need a huge staff to run an online parts business. The great thing about parts e-commerce is you can scale the size of your staff as you scale the size of your parts e-commerce business. So what we typically find when a dealer comes to Revolution Parts, we're able to increase efficiencies through our software that enable them to free up some additional time and then to start to be able to fulfill 10, 15, 20, 30 orders a month with the existing staff they have on hand. So really what you're doing is you're getting more productivity out of your existing staff with additional revenue out of your existing staff. And then when you're ready to scale your parts e-commerce business up, you can grow your staff over time to meet those goals that you have with e-commerce. So it's something that grows with you as a dealer, as a parts manager. As you want to grow, you grow your staff and you get more sales, basically.
Alrighty, so time for round 4, and I will launch that now. So find the lie. Marketplaces are great channels for obsolete parts sales. There is a large market for aging parts online, or selling obsolete parts online is a lost cause. Alrighty, dang, everyone's skipping our middle choice. It looks like we've got a good split between our first option and our last option. Alrighty, and we'll give about 5 more seconds to answer, and I will close the poll. Alrighty, so it looks like we ended with 80% of our audience today thinking correctly that the last one is the lie. Selling obsolete parts online is a lost cause. And why is that, Mauro?
So yeah, that's obviously couldn't be further from the truth. I think everyone kind of starts to understand that obsolescence is a huge opportunity to list your parts online. We here at Revolution Parts make it super easy for you with eBay. Not sure what the audience feels about eBay, if they used eBay in the past. It can be a full-time job, right? You have to take a picture of everything, find out where you want to list it, pay listing fees, all that good stuff. Revolution Parts kind of does the heavy lifting. We do take care of all that for you, and all you would need to do is fulfill the orders as they come in. Huge, online presence for eBay, obviously multi-billion-dollar company. So it just depends on how much of a slice you want out of that. And then of course there's a big DIY customer base on eBay, actively always looking to shop parts. So we can reduce obsolescence with, eBay Motors. You can also do it through your own web store where you can have parts marketing associated with that as well. And then we also have the new tool that we're going to launch, RP Obsolescence Tool. Mike, do you want to go into detail about what that includes or how that's going to
I
work?
can talk about that a little bit. So I think the key really is just having a strategy for obsolescence. I think we all realize that out in the marketplace, there's brokers that will come into dealers and buy obsolescence at 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents on a dollar. They wouldn't buy that obsolescence if they couldn't make money off it. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They've kind of learned, how to best, monetize obsolescence. And what we've done at RP is try to make it easy for you as the dealer to monetize that obsolescence and get more money out of it than selling it, at a 50%, 60, 70% loss. One of the newest things we are getting ready to launch is this obsolescence tool Mauro just mentioned. So what it does, it allows you basically to set rules in your parts inventory and say, if a part is older in stock and older than X amount of days or been on my shelf for more than X amount of days without any sales, then to automatically mark that part as obsolete and then apply my parts obsolescent rules to it regarding pricing. So you can set up pricing rules that say, hey, I want to price all obsolete parts at, say, for example, cost plus 10. And then over time, you can lower it to cost and then cost minus 10. And so it's a really great way of tagging and managing your obsolete parts and getting the biggest return for those obsolete parts you can. And what else it does too, is really exciting, is a lot of times when dealers come to us, it's because they have a huge bulk of obsolescence, $100,000, $200,000, like it's accumulated in the corner, months on end, sometimes over years. We help you get rid of that big bulk of obsolescence, obviously, but this tool, what it does is it helps to keep you clean continuously. So it's always looking at your parts and what's going into obsolescence and selling that obsolete part at, specific pricing rules. So it's really, not just about getting rid of the big pile of obsolete parts you have today, but it's about preventing a new pile from forming.
So that is a very early sneak peek. I know we have quite a few of our current dealers on today. Do keep your eyes peeled both in app when you sign into the Revolution Parts platform, as well as your email inbox. We will be sending a lot of comms out regarding this new obsolescence tool. We will be releasing that very soon. And then we'll talk about one other little sneak peek a little bit later in today's presentation. But for now, let's go ahead and move into round 5. This will be our final round of Find the Lie. And the poll is live on your screen now. So see if you can sniff out the lie from this bunch. Selling online leads to instant sales. If you build it out, they will come. There are turnkey solutions available for selling parts online, or selling online produces what you put into it. And we will give everybody about 10 more seconds to answer. We're at about 50% completion for this poll right now. And currently we've got 50% thinking it's number one, 29% for number two, and 21% think selling online produces what you put into it. Alrighty, and we'll go ahead and close this poll. So Mike, what was our lie?
Yes, so selling online leads to instant sales is the lie. So you can't just, start a business and not put anything into it and expect to really get anything out of it. You get in what you put out. So, you starting online, you have to, there are solutions that allow you to stand up a web store like Revolution Parts instantly, that allow you to put all your inventory on that web store, that allow you to set pricing rules, that allow you to ship orders and streamline communications. But if you have this amazing solution with all of this functionality, you still need to be able to get your parts in front of consumer eyeballs. And the way you really do that is through parts marketing. So acquiring new customers, whether it be by email marketing, using paid ads, investing in organic where you're optimizing for search terms. So just like with any business, you have to capture customers to your parts business. Then once you have those customers, you have to be a great seller, which then leads to like return buyers. I always talk about return buyers because they were kind of the secret sauce to being successful. If you look at Revolution Parts as a whole, 50% of the customers that buy from our dealers are actually repeat buyers, meaning they've bought something, then they came back to buy something else. The other 50% are new customers. So if you have to continually drive new customers to your business and you have no repeat customers, you're not going to be a successful online seller because the cost of acquiring a customer is going to drastically eat into your profitability. So you need to think when you launch your new parts e-commerce business, like what is your full strategy? Not in terms of just how am I going to acquire customers, but how am I going to take those customers I've acquired and turn them into lifelong customers, repeat buyers, and drive that repeat business. Because that's when you're really going to start to get that profitability and you're going to start to see success in your online parts business.
So that concludes our 5 rounds of 2 truths and a lie. How did everybody do? I saw a pretty even split between some of our choices. And we do want to just offer a quick recap on some of those myths that we helped bust today. And I think one of the most important key takeaways here is that knowledge is power. And one of the things we pride ourselves on doing and we want to continue doing is sharing content with you to help find methods that work for your dealership to successfully sell parts online. Is there anything else you wanted to recap? My 2 expert panelists.
Yeah, I just think the key is like there's a lot of opportunity still available in the online parts market. And I think the key is like you get what you put into it or get out what you put into it. For a lot of dealers and parts managers, some of these things such as parts marketing and building a web store can sound daunting. With Revolution Parts, though, we really make all that stuff easy. Our software allows you to instantly stand up a web store and integrates with your inventory. We have in-house marketing services that dealers can utilize. That's performance-based, that where we really only make money when you make money. So we really have a solution that's geared to drive success and allow you to focus on what you know best, which is, picking, packing, shipping, orders, communicating with customers about what parts they need, while we focus on, the e-commerce piece and making that easy for the customer.
All right, so before we move into our Q&A and then our raffle, I would love to just share with you our special offer for our attendees today. So if you are new to Revolution Parts, if you are interested in learning a little bit more, I'm going to launch one final poll here in just a second. But if you are new, you're interested in getting a demo or just talking a little bit more in a customized one-on-one conversation about what Revolution Parts could do for you, you will get 2 months for free when you sign up by March 8th. That is 2 weeks, not 2 days. Oh my goodness, that is 2 weeks from today. And then don't worry, for you current Revolution Parts dealers, we do have an offer for you as well. So we will waive all sign up and implementation fees if you upgrade or add an additional marketplace by that same date, 2 weeks from today, March 8th. The other announcement I did want to make, a little early sneak peek. I know that we might have some Canadian dealers on today. So if you are located in Canada and you have been chomping at the bit to get on eBay, I do have some exciting news. We are just around the corner from launching eBay for Canada. So if that is something that is of interest to you and you are located in Canada, go ahead and just drop that in the chat, and we will reach out to you directly just to provide a little bit more information on that. Enough of me talking. I will launch the poll that goes with the screen. So if you could go ahead and just answer quickly, would you like to learn more? If you already use Revolution Parts today and you would like to learn a little bit more about changing your account package or adding a new marketplace, go ahead and select option 1. If you do not use Revolution Parts yet, go ahead and select option 2, and either Morrow or one of our other wonderful AEs will reach out just to set up some one-on-one time to chat about your individual needs. Or of course, option 3, if you're just not interested in learning more at this time, that's totally okay too. You will still receive this slide deck and recording by email tomorrow, and then we will always be available should any additional questions come up. Alrighty, and it looks like everybody has answered our poll. So now we will move into the Q&A, and at this time I would love to open the floor for our attendees. If you have heard any other misconceptions, or if you have any big concerns about online parts and accessories sales, go ahead and throw those myths at us, and we would love to help bust those as well. Or if you just have any questions about Revolution Parts or any of the things we have talked about today, we're happy to answer those too. And then we'll move over into our raffle. So it looks like one myth/question that came through. There's too much competition online. What's the truth to that, you two?
Mike, you want to take that one?
Sure, I could take it. So there is competition online, so that is true. There is competition in every business that you start up, so you're not going to ever start a business and have it be void of competition. And if there is one you know of, please, let me know, and I'd love to start there too and compete with you. What we do see, though, is that the amount of competition, or really the supply, or excuse me, the demand is currently outpacing the supply of parts from dealers. So over the past 3 or so years, we've seen about a 30% year-over-year growth rate in parts e-commerce. During that same time, we've added substantial dealers here at Revolution Parts. Every year, the dealers that have been with us have seen growth. New dealers have come on and been able to capture sales. So today, there's still opportunity to get in and capture the online parts business. Will that always be the case? No, it will get more difficult as years go by and there's more and more competition and demand starts to dwindle. The other kind of fallacy in there a little bit too is that a lot of times dealers think they're only competing with other dealers, that the parts buyer is only looking for the OEM part. A lot of times you're not only competing with the OEM parts buyer, but you're also competing for aftermarket parts buyers. So when people are searching for a part, they're not just looking for OEM. Sometimes they're looking for aftermarket, and then they also find the OEM equivalent, and then they buy that instead of the aftermarket, or vice versa. So you're not just fighting for the piece of the OEM parts market, you also are fighting and competing with the aftermarket to take market share away from them and back to the dealer on the OEM side. Hopefully that made sense.
Absolutely. Another myth from our same attendee, margins, and this kind of goes with one of our myths we did talk about today, but margins are too low to make profit online for me. And I think this goes back to the volume. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
I think what we covered in that slide is like, it's a volume-based game, right? So it just depends on if you want to acknowledge that it is a volume-based game, and the way that we help you price your parts differently should actually kind of speak to that. So, I mean, if we go back to that slide, I don't know if you want to go back to it or if we can, but I think going on to that, Mike, I don't know if you want to explain it. Maybe I didn't cover it well enough, but as far as like it being volume based.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about it a little bit. So like, yes, so let's start there. The profit margin or the profit profile online is much smaller than the profit profile of selling to a customer in the service lane. So when you sell online, it depends on the brand and the part, but typically we'll see the average margin is like 15 to maybe 20%, like in that range is the profit margin you have selling online. For a lot of dealers, that's very similar to the profit margin they have on wholesale. Some dealers don't do wholesale just because of that profit margin too. It's not a profit margin they're comfortable operating in. So for it's not for everyone. It is a volume game though, so there's a lot of volume to be had. So if you're comfortable, making 15 to 20%, on $1 million in part sales, $100,000 in part sales, whatever that is for your dealership, then that's kind of how you have to think about it. Mara also pointed out for a lot of our dealers, shipping is a profit center. With wholesale, typically shipping is a cost center, but for online, it's a profit center. Last year, across our entire base, dealers made $8 million in profits, pure profits on shipping. So if you have an effective shipping strategy, it is a way to unlock some profits as well. It's not going to be a ton of money, honestly. I'm not going to put a policy out there, but you can, make a slim margin on shipping as well, which is better than losing money on shipping. So the margins are tight, but there is money to be made, and if you're effective at doing it, you can make build a successful business out of this. And some OEMs also have kickbacks. That's the other thing that we really didn't touch on. So if you work for a manufacturer that has kickbacks, it's a great way to reach your incentive, volume thresholds as well.
So we did have a couple questions come in outside of some other myth busting. One of our attendees was contacted by OEM Interactive. Can you walk us through our partnership with OEM Interactive and what dealers can do if you do use OEM Interactive today, or if you don't know who they are? Do we offer similar services?
Yep, no problem. So OEM Interactive, the owner over there, his name's Aaron. So they're a marketing agency company. They do parts marketing. So they talk to a lot of dealers, try to get them to sign up for Revolution Parts, and then do the parts marketing for them. We provide a very similar service at Revolution Parts. We have an agency as well. And we do the same stuff OEM Interactive does. They do a great job. If you go with them, I have nothing negative to say about them. They do amazing work. We do amazing work as well, though. So yeah, whatever one's your choice, they work with, quite a few of our dealers though and do parts marketing. So
And for our asker, I do have your name down, so I'll reach out to you too, just in case you have other additional questions. Another question came in, do we deal in motorcycle parts or just automotive?
So we do currently for BMW Motorrad deal in motorcycle parts. We may expand in the future to do other makes and manufacturers. Uh, if you have catalog data and stuff like that, there's things we can do. So maybe Mel can pass your information along to me and I can just reach out and see if there is a potential fit or what you guys are trying to accomplish in the motorcycle space. We do though do a little, we're the official vendor for Motorrad. We power their national site and work with a bunch of their dealers. We do OEM parts, and then we also do some aftermarket parts too, specialty aftermarket stuff for a select few. So there's always potential to have our conversation and see if there's a fit.
That does put us at the end of the presentation today. I just wanted to take a moment to go over some ways to contact us. So if you are a current Revolution Parts dealer and you need to get in touch with us, the CSM team is great for account management questions or strategy questions, and then our support team, of course, for any technical questions. For all future Revolution Parts dealers, if you have a question specific to today's webinar, feel free to reply to any of those webinar invites or the recording, or just email marketing@revolutionparts.com directly. That comes to our wonderful team and we will be happy to assist. Otherwise, if you have a request for a demo or a platform question, our awesome sales team is the best channel for that, and they do have an email and a phone number. And that brings us to the end of our very first ever Revolution Parts game show. So thank you so much for joining us live today for our Two Truths and a Lie Parts e-commerce edition webinar. We were so excited to host you. We will share this recording and deck out via email tomorrow, as well as some other great educational resources. For our gift card winners, you will hear from me shortly, and same for anyone who raised their hand to learn more. We will be in touch very soon. Thank you again for joining, and we hope you have an awesome day, y'all. Thank you. Bye, everybody.